me hearties, a very good evening to you, and DINKY-DOO from me, Scottie McCLUE. So glad you could join us this Saturday night, 9 o'clock sharp. Nothing gets past me, of course, and we've only got 1 hour of superb, scintillating information, education, and entertainment for not just one nation, but for all the nations of the world that are capable of getting the YouTube and the TikTok. I tell you, mon the ton, Mason. Absolutely. Jerry says, good evening, Scottie. Hope you're well. Are you booked in to present on STV? Well, Jerry, I mean, obviously I wouldn't be able to say anything about that, but we shall see what transpires. That's the thing. I say hi to everybody. Scott Mass, Raz, remember and tell us where you're watching from, guys. Very, very important, I tell you. Can you hear me and see me? That's the first thing we always have to check. So if we've got somebody, Jerry, I trust your judgment. Can you hear me and see me? That's what I need to know. And DINKY-DOO, I say to you, thank you for joining us, Kay. Tell us where you're watching from. Seats has joined us, or is it Seats? Am I pronouncing that right? I say to you, and DINKY-DOO. Wonderful to have Jerry back with us, so that's great stuff. Kev's joined us as well, DINKY-DOO. So Scottie of Scotland, I'm watching you from Leicester. We love Leicester. What a beautiful part of the world, I tell you. And who else have we got here? Lots and lots of you. DINKY-DOO from the captain hasn't said where he's from. Neil hasn't said. A letter from America. A letter from America. Do you remember that with the late Alistair Cook? Good morning. Good evening, Scottie. Good evening, Susan. How lovely to have you with us. Can you hear me and see me, Susan? Very important that you let the cat out the bag. New Orleans, Louisiana here, my friend, Big Papa. DINKY-DOO, we love Big Papa in New Orleans and Louisiana. Have you got a new number, Scottie? No, not yet, but I'll give you this number that I've got. I've still got the temporary one. So I think we should get that loud and clear, Scottie. Excellent, Susan. That's what we want. So are you ready? If you tell me when you're ready to take the number down, you need to get yourselves a stub of a hard black pencil and a threepenny jotter with no batter and let us know when you're ready to take the number down. And I'll tell you when I open up the lines so you can ring in for a chit-chat. Hello from Moffat. We love you in Moffat. I used to have lovely lunches at the Rumbling Tum on my way down to the television station. Marvellous stuff, and a bit of Moffat toffee. Ooh, stop. I can still taste it. It's beautiful. There we are. I'm ready. Are you ready? Right, here we go. It's 0333 335 6709. I say again, 0333 335 6709. Do you roger that, I ask you? So there we go. It sounds like a personal question, that, but it's not. I can tell you. So there we are. And we'll get the lines ready. Are you ready? The lines are there for you. I'll see if I can just move them slightly. Yes, move them over to the other side. But the lines are here. So you just let me know when you're ready for the old lines. Wonderful, that. I think I can take that over here. Yeah, it's wonderful. It's difficult for me to see. That's better. I can see what I'm doing now. Right. So what I'll do, I'll get the numbers over here. There we are. I think I've got that right. So that's it, guys. Yep, we've got the lines over here. And what I'm going to do, I'll move that to there. There we are. And then I can see you and get the lines as well. Isn't that beautiful? There we are. Just what we're all needing. Fantastic stuff. That's that. And I'll see if I can also get to see them. So just bear with me because we're brand new to this particular one. It's incredible. And I'm just trying to work out what's what here. I think if I can do that, yes. Right, so I do that, yeah, that's fine, and then I do that, and then that's fine. Right, I should have that now. There we are, and we should be able to see you as well, guys. Very, very important. All the top, so that's that. Fine. Good. Right. So if you want to give me a ring, then we can have a chit-chat on the telephones. That's rather good, isn't it? Hi, Scottie, and everyone, says Amy. Just to let you know, I'm in the Royal Infirmary in Glasgow. I've been really unwell, but getting there and hearing you and seeing you looking good. Jerry, that is absolutely amazing. How are you getting on? Hi from Wishaw. Bunnet says 18 month. Absolutely Bunnet. Just Ben has just joined us. Thank you for all the lovely hearts. Guys, we're at 300 likes. Now, let's just get down to this. The record is 41,000 likes. I've got 315, 345. If everybody watching goes tap, tap, tappity, tap, tappity, tappity, tap, and everybody follows me on TikTok and go up to the TikTok bio and subscribe on the YouTube. And we are laughing, absolutely laughing. Hello, one and all. Scottie, I'm in London. Karim, wonderful. Are you down for the rally? I tell you, hello, all Topswa. Hey, stranger, how lovely to have you back with us, and a big dinky-doo. You've got some explaining to do, buddy. Hi, everybody. Dinky-doo. Karim, have a lovely, lovely time in London. I believe it's been absolutely amazing. I was hearing some interesting things because people were saying, yeah, but you don't get this on the mainstream media. And I thought, well, perhaps it's not the mainstream media, you know. I mean, I think we are a taste of things, not just to come, but that are here now. Did you stay in Hag Hill? I didn't, Tracy, no. I stayed in Maryhill. So there we have it. I tell you, we can't mention things, Ian, like that, so we don't do that. So there we go. All right, my boy. All right, my boy. Mr. McCLUE. Definitely, I tell you. Good evening, Mr. McCLUE and Dinky-Doo. How much respect to you from Derbyshire. I was told this week that Falkirk was Scotland's capital once. I'll ask Mr. McCLUE. Well, Roy Michael, what I can tell you, the capital of Scotland used to move. So in 1306, your man Robert the Bruce was crowned at Scone on the stone of Scone. And then Dunfermline was the capital of Scotland. So if you look at the poem Sir Patrick Spens, it says, the king sits in Dunfermline town. Does anybody know the next line to that? I think we should be told. Good evening, Mr. McCLUE. I tell you so. A big dinky-doo to you. Good evening, Scottie, from a rather damp Northumberland. Alan, lovely to have you with us from Northumberland. You should be an English teacher, my boy. I thank you. That would be a lovely thing. I'm planning to have a career in education. Adriano says, give it a listen. Absolutely. Scottie, my friend, how are you? We're dinky-doo, Aaron, and lovely to hear you. What was your thoughts on the demonstration in London today? It was very, very impressive, numbers-wise. You know, I'm not privy to all the stuff that went on, but it was impressive. I tell you that. Can you say hi to Grace, please? Dinky-doo, Scottie, I'm planning to go on the Great Central Railway tomorrow. Wow. Railways are beautiful things. Scottie, I used to listen to you every week when I lived in Ibrox in my multi-story. Telephone! Hello, you're live at Scottie's phone in. Who's that?
It's Alan. Hello, how are you doing?
Alan, dinky-doo, how lovely to hear you.
How are you doing? You all right?
I'm absolutely fabulous. I'm chuffed with my new phones. I'm just so impressed, and thank you for ringing in.
No bother at all. No, I'm a big fan of yours, so I thought I'd just give you a quick phone, quick tinkle.
You are very, very kind. Whereabouts roughly are you telephoning us from?
I'm phoning from Northumberland.
You've just said to me, a very damp Northumberland.
That's right, yeah, absolutely chucking it down the rain, yeah.
But Alan, what a lovely part of the world that is.
It is indeed. Fantastic part to live in.
You know, it really is. It's brilliant. I know it very, very well. I used to broadcast on Century Radio coming out of Gateshead, man, Gateshead. And it was wonderful. And I can remember coming out at 2:00 in the morning, and Gateshead was in total darkness. It was a Friday night. And I looked across the river at Newcastle, across the Tyne at Newcastle.
Across the Tyne, right?
I said, oh, well, man. And right across, and Newcastle was lit up like daylight. Very strange. So everybody obviously goes night lifing in Newcastle.
Oh, it's a good place, Newcastle. Some rough parts, mind. If you know where the rough parts are, keep away from them,
well,
mind.
Everyone's got rough parts, you know, and I had a great time. And I can remember I was walking by the river, and these kids had got themselves down. The tide was out, but they'd got themselves down from the side, and they couldn't get back up. So this wee lad says, Mister, can you help us up? So, you know, rather than give them a row, you know, we got them up. You know, we said, go on, grab onto that, grab on, and up you come, there we go. And I said, no, you don't go down again. And they went, oh, what's it to do with you? I said, do you see all that green stuff there, you know, from where the tide mark was? And they said, aye. I said, well, that's where the water comes in. I said, and if we hadn't been walking by and you hadn't been ready to get out, you could have got caught with the water. So you be careful. You take care of yourself. And they ran away shouting, and you take care of you and all. Thanks very much. we rascals. So it was amazing. You know, I just had to tell them because, you know, kids are kids. And I thought I don't want them getting caught by the tide.
Definitely.
So that was it. So I had a great time down there with a great week. Although I remember my wizard of the big switchboard said, I think you should park your car round the back. We've had 450 complaints about last night. Well, I just said I don't want any of you think Geordie's phoning me up. Of course, the phones were jammed. Are you calling us sick? Great fun. And that's what it was all about, you know. I mean, I think the people that are really losing out from McCLUE not being on the radio are the people of the country, you know.
That's it. Well, it used to be Radio Borders up here where I live.
Absolutely. I used to phone them sometimes for a laugh.
Oh, Drew Throttle too.
Yeah, I used to phone. There was that's right, yeah, the phone in. Was it a Friday night or was it every night?
I think it was. I think it was a Friday, yeah.
Was it a Friday? I just remember stumbling on it. I was staying out in East Lothian and my tuner picked it up. And I thought, I'll give this lad a ring for a laugh, you know.
Uh-huh.
So
happy days.
I was giving him all that down the phone, you know, you should be sacked and all. Great fun.
Brilliant.
Lovely to hear you, Alan, and thanks for your call. That is amazing.
No bother at all. You take care, Scottie.
You look after yourself.
We'll speak to you soon. Okay,
absolutely, and dinky-doo, sir.
No bother. Cheers, Scottie. Thanks for that.
See you soon. There we are. That's Alan from Northumberland. He's got the number, guys. I've got the number. It's probably only temporary for another week or so, but it's 0333 335 6709. Get yourselves onto that. Bye, Alan, says Nettles. Thanks, Nettles. Tyler says, Scottie. There we are. How's my favourite SNP influencer? Well, I might be an influencer, Kieran, but I'm not political. So I couldn't be your favourite one for that. So there, Jerry says, I've been in the ward for a week. We spoke of you. One of the guys was asking of you. I mentioned you do the YouTube channel. He said, I was good at Scott FM. Another chap chipped in. He's did. No, I said. No. Jerry, tell them I promise you I'm no did. Because I checked before I came on. and it was a resounding no. I'm still here, I tell you. Evening, Scottie, from the windy gates on the Northumbrian borders. Ryan, how lovely. We've got everybody in Northumberland tonight. I wonder what's happening. Do they still do the Jocks and the Geordies and the Dandy comic? Or was it the Beano? I can't remember, Amy. I think I'd maybe stopped reading it by then and moved on to something else, I tell you. Scottie, have you been to Crail, Struan? Crail. How beautiful is Crail on the East Duke of Fife, I tell you. Do you know Kirkoswald? I do know Kirkoswald. Yes, absolutely. And Kirkconnell as well, I tell you. Yes, I know Kirkoswald. I know all these places. I'm very, very well travelled in the UK, but not so well travelled abroad. As an old pal of mine said, just to cheer me up, "You've just worked your life away, is that right?" I said, well, that's pretty well it, yes. Have you been to the Golf Hotel in Crail? I can't remember. I maybe had a scampi supper some time ago. I used to pop into all these wonderful places, I tell you. Hello from Bedlington in Northumberland, Scottie. What's going on with Northumberland? Is the word out that McCLUE's on wireless? Bedlington, the Bedlington Terrier, Ashington, Easington, all the tons. I tell you, we love it. What's the number again, Scottie? I'll give it to you. Here we go. 0333 335 6709. I haven't learned it yet because we've only had it for a week. I tell you, Scottie, why are your lips turning blue? Probably maybe a lack of oxygen up to here. Just give me a second. Oh, I've just had some oxygen. I'm better. They'll go red again. The phones. Hello, you're live on Scottie's phone in. Who's that?
Hi, Scott. I was wondering, what's your opinion on Charlie Kirk at the moment?
Well, I'm not going to go into all that because it's all over all of the media. I'm just really, really upset about what's happened. That is never an answer to...
Well,
You know, absolutely, and we don't want that. So there we are. So I won't be discussing what's happened there because I say it's all over the media. And what we like to do on here is discuss us. Yes, absolutely. How did the Rangers get on today? Maybe that's why my lips were going blue. Rustler Burger, I don't know. I've been tied up all day, but that sounds a bit strange. Hello from Tennessee. Been a while since I've seen you in my algorithm. Truth Seeker. I was waltzing with my darling to the Tennessee Waltz. Dinky-Doo to you, JCMC. Who's your favourite pipe band, Sean? Without doubt at the moment, it's Inverary and District Pipe Band. And another great pipe band was Mid-Argyll Pipe Band. So Argyll's got it for me at the moment. It used to be Glasgow Police or Edinburgh Police. There we are. Glasgow Police are a wonderful pipe major. A huge, big, tall gentleman. So there you go. See if anybody remembers Big Ronnie. They got gubbed with Hearts 2-0. What? Hearts beat Rangers? Hearts beat Rangers. Right. Scottie, how well would you do in Mastermind in all seriousness? What would your specialist subjects be? Let us know. Oh, Jerry. Could be a whole number of subjects. I think probably the Clyde steamers from 1864 to 1964. How about that? The Clyde steamers, 1864 to 1964. Scottie, I was listening to you 30 years ago. Loved it. Thank you so much, you absolute topper. I tell you, Crazy Horse has followed us. Guys, everybody get following with 3,400 likes already. Queen's Park are better than Rangers, says Brian. So there we are. And he adds 3 letters. I don't know what that means. I love you, Scottie. I thank you, Crazy Horse. You're a wonderful person. So on Mastermind, Jerry, you would need to all come on and test me. Whoa, the telephones. Listen to that. Is that not beautiful? You're live at Scotty's phone in. Who's that?
Hi, Scotty.
Yeah, a wee minute. Somebody funny. Who's that? You're live at Scotty's phone in.
Scotty, it's Topswahey. How you doing, buddy?
Topswahey now. Listen, I don't wish to embarrass you, but you've got some explaining to do. Did you leave in a cream puff?
Not exactly a cream puff, and I won't go into particular details.
All right.
It's your health side hustle. It's not for me. Let's just be politic and say it that way. So.
So it was something to do with the fact we were discussing the health thing. Well, in your honour, I've set up a separate channel because I thought we didn't want to lose you. You see, I thought, I wonder if he's gone in a wee cream puff because everybody's been asking for you. How's Topswahey? We're worried about him now. And I said, well, I hope he's okay and all that stuff. In other words, I hoped your health was all right, you know.
No, hey, listen, if it was a health channel about my health, you would need another 3 or 4 to discuss that.
Right.
4 channels.
Well, maybe what you'll do is when we're having a live one, purely for us on the health channel, maybe you'll come on and have a chat.
And what we could do is we could make it a video chat and I'll show you my embarrassing rash.
Oh, my goodness me. I don't know what I would know what to do with that. Friend of mine, lovely, actually, knew him all my life. Wonderful man, wonderful doctor. And I saw today that he'd passed away just a few years ago there. And he was a great guy. And he ran a very challenging practice with, very, very busy, lots of housing and high-rise and stuff. So he had to just deal with things as best as he could. And of course, the only reason I say high rise, there's nothing, I'm not in any way belittling the high rise. It was just, it involved a lot of work getting there and getting back. So he got in the lift one day and this woman goes, see, can I show you something? And he says, well, it depends what it is, my dear. So anyway, she lifts her jumper up and she's got a rash. And she goes, what do you think of that? And he said, oh, my, he knew it wasn't anything serious at all. He said, oh, I don't think I would know what to do with that. She said, but you're a doctor. He went, no, I'm actually the gas man. He says, but you've made my day. And she went, oh, no, I thought you were the doctor.
I myself, in my younger days, was a keen amateur gynecologist. We're getting on. Sorry, that was a bit below the belt.
That was below the belt. I tell you, yes, absolutely, but no problem. Now then,
we're getting a lot of calls from Northumberland and about Northumberland.
We are. So you're back in the frame. All is well. You and I are fine.
Well, yeah, Scott. I was talking to Mrs. Topswahey and she said, you're being a bit harsh. So,
you're being a wee bit harsh on him, yes.
And also, I enjoy a wee chat with you,
And Mrs. Topswahey would say, and he does give you a fair hearing, It's
that exactly.
And I've got lovely shiny new phones as well.
Oh, yeah. Oh, and you've also got a lovely, in front of the Pegasus, the Paratrooper Pegasus. Is that a taxi model you've got there?
No. People think that is actually a beautiful model of a Range Rover.
Yes, it's a Range Rover.
It's a Range Rover, you can see it, and it's actually a beautiful model, and it was a lovely, lovely gift. And it everything in it sort of works. I mean, it doesn't start of that, but it's got every last detail. Incredible. When you look inside the interior, everything. It's what was the model after the 322? Was that right? And that was your 2.5 diesel of the new range at the time. When they changed from the big square classics.
Well, it's always been out of my price range. I'm self-employed, and literally the only good advice my father ever gave me literally was never have a better car than your clients, because they'll know you're overcharging.
Well, your father was a very wise man, as we know, and
well, that was it.
And I think that's right. And no, I ran them at the time because I could move house in them, I could sleep in them, and what have you. But it wasn't quite as comfortable as the Austin Maxi for sleeping.
Oh, the Austin Maxi.
The Austin Maxi, you could get the seats down and get a very nice night skip. And I was staying at an hotel once, and I had a beautiful black Labrador. Well, that's him there, Lord Reith, as you know. And he never barked. You could take him anywhere. And I took him into the hotel, and in the morning at about 7:15 or something, some sales guys were leaving. They were clattering down the stairs, and he goes, "Ooh, woof." I said, "Shh, boy, stop." "Woo, woo." I said, no, woo. I said, stop. So I thought, I'll take him out. So I took him out, and there was the manager in the clawhammer coat at that time in the morning. And he said, "Excuse me, sir, has anybody spoken to you about the dog?" I said, "No." He said, "Oh, I think you'll find they have." I said, "Excuse me, I do not tell lies." And he said, "Well, we don't actually allow dogs in the hotel." I said, "Well, that's fine. Just cancel the booking." So a few £1,000 went south for him, but I ended up that night staying in the car. Amazing.
Yeah, so you had to actually sleep.
I had to sleep in the car, but I mean, it was my fault. But I mean, I just said no, just cancel the booking in that case. And it was really not the fact that he couldn't have the dog; it was the fact that he'd accused me of telling him a mistruth. You know,
Well,
and I thought, no, we don't have that.
We were away last weekend, and I rewatched the show. We stayed in it's such a beautiful part of the country. I won't tell you the village because there's only 120 people in it, and it was totally identifiable.
No, don't tell us. Don't tell us.
It's about 15 miles south of Haddington, and it was a business associate, but a friend, now become a friend of Mrs. Tups, and she'd invited both of us over to stay. And I'd never met this woman, so obviously you wonder whether my peppery personality is going to fit in, you know. But we had an absolutely lovely time.
Fantastic.
But I'm getting feedback on my phone. Is it okay at your end?
It's perfect. It's perfect here, guys. Is the phone all right? Can we hear Tups for here? Do tell us.
I love that. You just tell me. But you mentioned I watched the show on the playback last week, and you mentioned something about how you back in the day you didn't really. It was about that the first one to resign this week, and it was before she'd resigned, but it was when she was up to her neck in it. And you mentioned that you rarely heard from lower-level politicians in the past, but that's exactly true. But one of the things is the continual escalation of everything, and I've got something that you'll possibly agree with. About 20 years ago, the government came up with their emergency existential threat debating chamber, and they called it COBRA. And it was, you'll hear it, the Prime Minister, assembled the COBRA committee.
Yes, I know it well. And they're all in there.
It was set up by David Cameron for existential emergencies. We're talking meteor strike level stuff, right? But because they called it COBRA, they can't resist calling COBRA meetings because it sounds really tough and like they're doing something. Now you're getting COBRA meetings every couple of months. If they called it the Pink Unicorn Club, right, then they would never want to call it. They should have called it that, said it, COBRA. Like, oh, we're tough and look, we are doing something.
Well, of course, we know what cobras can do. They can strike.
Oh, absolutely.
I remember a friend of mine, he was a great one for sorting things out. And I said, how are you doing? Because you're obviously having a tough time. He said, oh, I'm as popular around here as a cobra.
You give it these big.
But I think the thing is the politicians discovered the media. The media used to be about comedy, entertainment, news, where a very cultured, probably a gentleman, sat in a tweed jacket and read you the news. With a straight face and the emphasis on everything. I mean, I'm discovering new words at the moment. Gooferment is the latest one. GOOFERMENT, the Gooferment. So we're getting that. I'm discovering things about you've got to watch if you've got an allergy to newts. NOOTS. And we've got all this now. That would never have been allowed. The state broadcaster used to have a pronunciation unit, so you just couldn't get anything wrong, because if you were a newscaster, as I was, you were also a phonetician. So you knew exactly how to use phonetics and phonetics never, ever, ever gets it wrong.
Well, one of the things with the national broadcaster is they say no names, no background, because you never know what the YouTube algorithm is going to pick up.
Yes, and we might just get stopped.
But this was quietly changed in the 90s with no fanfare whatsoever. But up until some point in the 90s, the newsreaders on the national broadcaster had to write the bulletin that they were going to read out. Now, that's proper journalism, but in the 90s, that was just done away with. And then you had what you've got from then on is just presenters. And I heard someone, I don't know who it was, about 20 years ago, said the best way to evaluate news on the television and online is if you mute the sound and watch it without any audio at all, then just ask yourself, look at them as they're reading and think, do you trust a single word that person said?
Well, no, you see, you've got people standing up, for starters, and the ladies have got a big flappy trouser suit and all the rest of it. Then a few minutes later, they're sitting down again and what have you, and you think, what's going on here? And I think if they dropped all this, hey, I've got some new equipment, you'll be amazed what we can do with this. We can cut between this, that, we can fade, we can wipe. We've been able to do that in television since television started. And I worked in where they still had some of the original equipment. I won't say where it was. And they would say to you, what we're going to do, if you can do 10 seconds chat, and then we'll pull to the clock. Now, pull to the clock actually existed in a box with a little camera on it. So what happened is very quickly, I would say, and now it's time for the news coming up, and it would go very quickly dark because they were so slick. And then the clock would appear, and I would say, with the time at 1 o'clock. You see, and that stuff. And it worked very smoothly, but there was a lot of skilled people with input. But it looked superb,
All the viewers thought that you had the world's most remarkable internal clock, and you could just tell that.
Oh. And it was the same, the globe that you used to see on the national broadcaster, the globe was real as well, with a little camera on it.
Yes.
Little revolving globe. And now everything's all created, all the digital stuff. Great, but why not still get the newsreaders trained vocally, saying never mind all this natural voice and accent. Yeah. Get it right and pronounce the stuff properly, and that's one thing. And sit at a desk and just give us the news, and we can do the inserts as well, because they've got very slick vision mixers,
Yeah, as I've mentioned before, for a good few years I worked for the national broadcaster, and so I know a little bit about it. But because they say budget cuts, what the national broadcaster now has, they used to have correspondents in all the major cities across most of the world. But now, if you listen to the radio or watch television, I don't really bother with mainstream television anymore. YouTube's far more interesting. But they don't have BBC, national broadcaster staff. They've got local people who would in the past have been referred to as stringers.
Stringers, that's right, the stringers.
But now they're getting the entire line from a country, from someone who's in that country and not from Britain. And that's a risk for the corporation itself, because I'm telling you...
Or any corporation. So there we are. So we'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
We'll leave it at that. But what I loved about particularly the ITV stations, a lot of them were in big rural areas. And you had people really quite a distance away and not somewhere you could get to in minutes. It was a bit like, I can remember a story, and some smarty pants had moved into, I think it was Strathclyde Police at the time, and said, I think what we should do is get the sergeants checking the constables' notebooks with such and such a time, you see. And, you know, one old sergeant said, how can you check the notebook when he's on another island?
Well, that's one of the problems, as you know, as I've mentioned far too many times. I was a private investigator for a number of years working with ex-cops, and I would do surveillance on the various islands. And one of the big problems, if you've got one of the islands, for example, where there's only one copper, then his wife had to be the corroboration if he ever had to make an arrest.
Yes.
But the kids go to the local school, he's a local cop, his wife goes to local shops.
Yes.
So it was a very difficult balancing act, but he did it superbly.
Oh, yes.
But it also meant that you could usually get away with quite a lot on the island.
Well, I remember hearing a story that the cop in a rural area had to bang up some old guy for being absolutely out his tree with the drink.
Yeah.
And
that would be me. That would be me on a surveillance job.
He popped him into the cell. So this guy thought he'd start kicking the cell to bits, you know. Fat chance. I mean, these doors were about 3 inches thick, you know. So anyway, he was going daft and making a noise, and the wife apparently went down, and she knew who it was and said with his first name, I've got a wee family trying to sleep upstairs. Now just you stop it. And then there was quiet, and she heard, I'm sorry.
Well, that's when there was one particular island I had to go back to several times, and that's exactly what it was like there. Actually, on that subject, last week, as I say, I watched it on the replay because it was away, but you used to get letters from the big house from people who were jailed.
Absolute sheafs of them. Because I spoke to one of the governors, because I saw him at a do, and he said, you're popular. I said, yes, so I believe. You know, and that was the chat. And I said, well, they're all telling me that they shouldn't be in there because they haven't done it. He went, oh, yes, of course, I've got 500 innocent people in there. That's right.
Well, it reminded me, excuse me, it reminded me of a story that was told by my old private investigator gaffer, who was a retired surveillance cop, and the Stewart Street Police Station in Glasgow, at Christmas they would send Christmas cards to the guys being jailed, right? Regards from Stewart Street, have a Merry Christmas.
Well, they all kind of knew each other. I think that was what it was all about. You know, and it went back to the days of the wonderful Percy Saluto.
It was specifically that they were doing it to rub it in that they'd been jailed. And that's why my gaffer said it's why it's so important that cops never break the law, because if they end up in jail, and I'll use the phrase, it's not an indelicate phrase, but it's very illustrative. He said if a cop ends up in jail, it is past the parcel.
That's the parcel. Well, I can always remember my uncle who died in the war with the Navy, went down with his ship. He was a policeman in the Gorbals at 21, and his father my grandfather was a master carpenter and sent him a beautifully turned baton and said, "Now, my boy, that's green heart." And he said, "So any of the Neds," he said, "Father, I'm sending you it back. If I used that on the Neds," he said, "I'd be done for manslaughter." He said, "And the other thing is, when I'm in trouble, it's the Neds I shout on." So quite interesting.
A backup.
Yeah, well, a bit of backup, you see, and this was Percy. What Percy said when he came up, because he was around. He was my uncle's chief constable, and he was brought up to sort out the gang warfare. And he was a very hard man. I mean, Percy had been in, he really knew about security. And he'd been in the, I think it was the Rhodesian police and stuff like that, really tough areas he'd worked in. And then he was in Chesterfield. And they obviously didn't want him having too nice a time in Chesterfield, and they brought him to Sheffield. And then Glasgow wanted him because he was just so good at sorting things out. And when he came up to Glasgow, he got all the intel. And then he said, "Right, I want all your biggest, hardest, tallest, shinty-playing Hielandmen." Right? And he said, "Now, here's the deal, guys. You put up with no nonsense. And you won't be done for grievous bodily harm, I can tell you that right now." Anyway, the old Black Maria would pull up at the scene of the fighting with the gangs. Out would get the police, wallop, 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 right? The gangs lying all over the street, police back in the Black Maria, away they went, take in the ones that they thought they're never going to behave. And that was it. And eventually the gangsters started saying to each other, "I'm not sure I'm really enjoying this gang warfare the way we used to, I think we'll maybe chuck it." And that was it was absolutely brilliant. It what a treat. And then Percy got a wee sweetie shop and retired and was selling, the Daily News and all that stuff. And a couple of dark-suited gentlemen came in to see him one day and said, "We'd like to offer you a job." And he said, "Oh, no, I'm quite happy just selling my papers." And they went, "Well, we want you to take this job." And it was the head of the security service.
Well, that's it. I mean, you certainly wouldn't steal anything from Percy's job.
Could you imagine it? And he was a great, big, handsome man. And he got, probably rather unfairly, he got his card marked because of the Burgess McLean defection.
Yeah.
Really? Yes. They said. I mean, he was knighted and everything. There was no problem. Great man, but I think that fingers were being wagged at him, saying, "You should have known that was coming up." And I mean, how can you know something as clever as that? These guys were in place right at the top of British society.
Exactly, and they'll throw him under the bus to try and divert attention away from
the fact that they'd failed him themselves, as you say. So that was that. One man, but wonderful. I mean, a very, very hard man. And I won't mention the other one, but a friend of mine was a Marine. And a very, very tough guy, beautiful manners and everything, but very, very tough guy. And he was telling me about one of his very senior officers. I mentioned the senior officer's name to me, but he was a hard man. And that was coming from a Royal Marine, So these guys just no nonsense. Lovely to hear you, by the way, Tups. And I'm glad that Mrs. Tups talked a wee bit of sense to you, you know what I mean? You should have said, "Scottie, see if you're going to talk this health stuff, I'll not be back." And I would have understood that.
Well, it's not the general thing. It's something specific, and it would be rude of me to go into specifics in this forum. But
no,
it's a genuine pleasure to chat to you again.
It's lovely to hear. It's always a pleasure to chat to you, though. It's never a problem. And as I say, I'm not going to pry. If it's something personal, then I'm sorry you had that experience. But we'd got our teeth into.
No,
do you know what I mean?
Honestly, I'm not triggered. It was just. It's just a view on a specific product that I have, and I thought. It's
I think I know what you mean now. I get that from people. I get that from people. Because
loads of them.
Oh yes, no. I get that from people because I understand where they're coming from. It's a lot to take in, but when you see it actually work, you think, OMG. And as I say, I am the living proof, I mean, all I could do 6 years ago was shuffle,
Okay. I think we'll draw a line under that.
We're on it, no problem at all. And as I say, Tops, you can always be front up with me. As we used to say in Yorkshire, they go, them people, they should front up, Scottie.
I just never want to be rude, that's all. But
no, you're never rude.
It's a genuine pleasure to talk to you. You've got a lot. You'll have to go attend to business. It's getting late.
So, what are you like? Everyone going, there's that Tops on again. We were enjoying it till he came on and started taking over.
You'll have lost 1,000 subscribers right away.
Not at all. They love you. And you take great care of yourself. In regards to Mrs. Tops.
Well, thanks, Guy. Take care.
DINKY-DOO. Lovely to hear you. There we are. That's our Tops way back, folks. And very nice to hear them on the new phones. Phone number, Scottie, says Lee. Lee, phone number 0333 335 6709. The reason I haven't put it up is it's temporary. So there were, hi Scottie from Cumbernauld. I'm struggling with MS. I understand. And you'll be able to talk to me on the Health Channel. I'm going to set a time. It's very early days. I'm involved in some pretty heavy stuff at the moment. I'm pretty maxed with a lot of media stuff at the moment. But once I can clear a space, we'll get that Health Channel set up. We'll get the phones going. And we'll get right into it, guys. So there you go. Any more takers for the stickers, says Carbolic? No, but I'll tell you what, I did find Carbolic. I don't know if I've got it here. I found another badge. They're like gold dust. There we are. Angela says, thank you. No, Angela, not at all. And I can never make any claims, Angela, but I do think it would be worth a try. Because the good thing about this is it's not medical, it's not clinical, there are no side effects, it's scientific. And the difference it's made for me, because as I say, I could only shuffle with the psoriatic arthritis. So there we are. Susan, that's very kind of you, says Tups. What's Susan saying to Tups there? Hi, Scottie. My wife used to love listening to you on the radio. It must be over 20 years ago. It's great to see you're still around and live and kicking. Yes, indeed, thanks to the Life Wave patches. Scottie, what did you think of the terrible killing of the Speaker, Charlie Kirk? The world's going mad. You can't even have an opinion without certain people wanting to hurt you for it. Well, Amy, it's just an absolute tragedy. There's never, ever, ever been anything to be gained by that kind of violence because somebody has got an opinion. And what you'll find is perhaps the person, that disagrees doesn't quite realise just what's what. It's a huge field, but I am so sorry for Charlie's family. I'm so sorry for what happened. Just not the thing at all. So there you go. I tell you. Now, and what we can do, Angela, you don't need to identify yourself or anything like that when you're coming on. You can just say, you can even say, it's Big Genie or Wee Genie or whatever, just a handle, because all I'm going to want to do is talk to you and see if there's anything that we can offer you. Can you please tell me the number to speak to? Lee, I've just told you. Hi, Scottie, late arrival, says the wonderful Neil O'Gormley. Neil, lovely to have you with us. And Angela, I send you strength, wonderful strength for your wonderful courage and for your fortitude in bearing that. There we are. Yes, Carbolic. No, Carbolic, I think it's very interesting. You see, again, the guns in America. You know, you're never going to stop that. If somebody wants to get a hold of a gun, even if guns were banned, they would do it. You know, gangsters do it all the time. There you are. So we can't do anything with that. Scottie McClue, can I ask what age are you? Lily, of course you can ask what age I am. So there you are. I'm just coming up 70. So there you are. That's what's happening. I'm just coming up 70. 70 years and 10. Ewan Dinky-Doo, the at Scottie McClue. We love it. That was a mindless shooting of that young man. Well, Jay, all these shootings are mindless. You know, because there's never, ever any reason. Go back to JFK. You know, go back to Bobby Kennedy. Go back to Gandhi. You know, all that sort of stuff. Any of these killings are just mindless. Yeah, just mindless. And it's a bit like war. The politics has failed. Are you having a party for your 70th? Oh, Amy, I've never really bothered too much about all these things because I don't know how many lives I've actually had. But, you know, you used to hear the saying, oh, that one's been here before. I'll tell you. And it's just wonderful stuff. And I always give myself a bit of a telling off that I should be a lot more stressed and a lot more worried about the fact that life's passing me by and going on. But I've also had such a great run and done so many what other people tell me are just amazing things. I tell you. So that's what's going on here. Here's Kurt. Hello, Kurt. How are you? I forgot Bobby Kennedy got shot. Yes, JFK, Bobby, who else? Martin Luther King. Somebody said today, and this sums it up, they said, nobody's ever been shot for telling a lie. There we are. It's only when you start telling the truth. The stabbing of the young woman, the truth. Yes, absolutely. Amen, says Jay. Amen, Jay. Hallelujah. Malcolm X. Absolutely. So there we go. I'm just reading, guys, the feedback has been tremendous tonight. This is a great show. You know, it's fantastic. And I'll tell you why it's a great show. It's nothing to do with me. It's to do with you guys. You make the show. 8,400 likes. I think people get a bit tired of tap, tap, tappity, tap, tappity, tappity, tap, but the record is 41,000. I promise you. Will you be back on the radio? Stuart, there are huge discussions at the moment about my return to radio. And I can't say too much about it, but just tonight I was in touch with a very powerful person in the media. And they've come up with yet another brilliant idea. Was that John F. Kennedy's younger brother? Yes. Yes. Senator Kennedy that you see is his son. There we go. Out of Robert Kennedy Jr. Sounds good. Oh, Stuart, it's impressive, to say the least. And you see, we have this, you know, somebody once said to me, why do you do it? Is it your ego? And I said, no, I don't have an ego. I don't have an ego. I am the world's most humble man, as well as the world's top broadcaster. I tell you. So there we go. Scottie, great talking to you earlier. I might phone in next week for a catch-up if that's okay. Alan, it's always good to hear you on the phones. Fraser says, thoughts on Charlie Kirk? Well, of course, we've done that, Fraser. And, you know, I love hearing your unlimited knowledge. Oh, my goodness. I'm sure there'll be a limit somewhere, Jeff. But there's so much that we talk about. It's just incredible. It's very humbling, actually. And how many mainstream broadcasters do you know who have put in 40 years and we're still going? You know, Scottie, can I ring to say good night? Of course you can, Glenn. Hi, Scottie, DINKY-DOO from Canada. Lonesome Don Wilkie. So lovely to hear you from Canada. There we are, from Canada. I love it. Now, what have we got here? What do you not know? Oh, Jeff, I think, as I've always summed it up, when somebody says, I'm so impressed with your knowledge, I say, yes, but you would be amazingly impressed if you realised what I don't know. It's like a wonderful friend of mine once, we were talking about referees and references. And I said, well, so-and-so was the referee, famous guy. I said, and what he'd done, I said, he'd said this and he'd said that. And he said, well, that's what he said. And I said, yes, I've just said that. That's what he said. He went, aha, what did he not say? Isn't that interesting? And any time I've met very, very, very senior people, and it's very impressive, I've gone into their office and there's not a thing on their desk. You would think they'd know what to do. And these people are very, very, very highly paid, highly remunerated. And they've looked up, they've got up, they've come and shaken hands and said, how lovely to see you. Come and sit down. And they've said something nice like, my wife's a great fan of your work. I said, oh, thank you for that. That's the icebreaker. Then they've sat back and they've said, what can I do for you? Right? What can I do for you? And then when I've started back, they've gone quiet and sat back and done this. And then one of them in particular used to look to the side. And then he would come back and say, I think we can probably help you here, actually. And then I've gone out the meeting saying, I don't even know if anything was concluded there. Then you get a call the next day and somebody said, well, I don't know what you said, but it's what? I'm selling my one-bedroom flat in Cadder near Lamb Hill. I'm buying a camper van, Scottie. £45,000 for a good one, or £50 for a shell. The camper van. Oh, wow. This is incredible. Glenn says it's 0141. No, Glenn, it's not that now at the moment. It's 0333 335 6709. Young Kennedy was trying to take down, says Jay. Oh, perhaps, Jay. Do you know what I'm saying? We don't know for sure. These are all rumours that fly about. I once said to a friend of mine, I'm wondering if the boss was thinking. He said, you don't know what the boss was thinking, and it doesn't matter. You're live on Scottie's phone in. Who's that?
Hi, Scottie. Lee from Barnsley.
Lee, DINKY-DOO, Lala. How lovely to hear you. Of course I do. This is absolutely fantastic. Lee, we're absolutely... Oh, you lovely man. Well, we might be coming back to Barnsley. Oh, we've lost him. We've lost Lee. What's happening? Oh, my goodness me. And we're out of time. Guys, thank you for a fabulous show. I love you. Whoo!